Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to our continuing coverage of the Arma 3 Endgame tournament. We're just about ready to hop into quarterfinals B, but before that happens, we have a special guest joining us in our TeamSpeak channel, Jester814. He is primarily known for his YouTube Milsim-related content. Jester, it's very good to have you with us.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
I'd also like to introduce, we've got a couple other players that are going to be joining us here in this discussion. Andrews from Reality Gaming, as well as PlayerUnknown, who will be joining the Ambassadors team. And Andrews here represents Reality Gaming, who will be participating in next week's series up against Liberated Gaming.
Thank you, Stardom, for that introduction.
Yeah, welcome. It's going to be more of a discussion here. It's going to be pretty casual. But, Mike 1 and I have a few questions that we'd like to shoot your way. And initially, I think I'd like to address Jester here. And Jester, if you like, maybe you could introduce yourself to the viewers here and just mention, where you're from, how you're known within the Arma community, and where people can find you if they're looking to get in contact with you, or maybe, find out a little bit more about what it is you do and why you're on the Arma 3 Ambassador team.
Well, I started playing Arma 2 in about 2009. I got into it for whatever reasons, but I found a Milsim unit pretty quickly. That was the 15th Mu realism unit. I was there for about 3 years or 4 years. Actually, I think it was 5 years. While I was with them, I started making YouTube videos, and my YouTube videos, I went between Arma and Daisy, and my YouTube channel started getting more popular. And about 5 years into it, I realized that wasn't quite what I wanted out of Arma, but it was very close. So I ended up making a new unit, myself and 2 other members from the 15. We made the 506, and it's all co-op Milsim. We don't really PvP. It's just all co-op, and we do realism / Milsim. We try to use realistic communications and tactics and structure, and that's where our realism moniker comes from.
Very cool. I gotta say that I originally came across your videos and very much enjoy them. So anybody viewing here that has not seen Jester's, his YouTube, I'd encourage you guys to check that out. And Jester, would you like to tell them where they can find you on YouTube?
It's youtube.com/Jester814.
Very simple, very easy enough. Thank you. And it looks like we were just joined by PlayerUnknown in this broadcast. And PlayerUnknown, for those of you that don't know, he is the creator of the Battle Royale game mode. He'll be joining our discussion here. And PlayerUnknown, I'd like to introduce you if you'd like to say hi to the viewers.
Hey guys, how are things?
So this is very much just a casual discussion. We were just directing a couple questions to Jester, and it'll probably be to each one of you as this continues. But all of you are welcome to speak up within this discussion with any points that you may have. But as far as moving forward, I'd like to, continue with Jester here. What are your expectations moving forward as far as, your involvement with this endgame tournament and what you expect from the Arma 3 Ambassadors as a team?
Expectation is to have some fun, play some Arma. I've never really gone outside of my Arma unit, so it's going to be a really unique experience. And on top of that, I don't PvP in Arma. I've PvP'd a lot in other games, so I'm not a stranger to it. But it'll be real interesting to see if the 8 of us are able to come together and work together to move forward in the tournament.
Yeah, it'll be interesting because the Ambassadors team is kind of from all over. It's just prominent people within the community that are relatively well known for various reasons. So, you have yourself with extended experience in the realism / Milsim background, and then you have other people that are, from either the modding or scripting community, like PlayerUnknown here, that involved in various different aspects, and then you have other streamers, and it's going to be very interesting because you have players from all different avenues coming together. So it'll be very interesting to see how you guys kind of meld together. And I'd like to actually now maybe direct, towards PlayerUnknown, and were you able to watch the first series of matches?
I was. I was watching them. Very impressed by the dev squad.
Yeah, it was very impressive. Very impressive. I really did not expect to see that level of execution from the dev squad, and not to slight them in any manner, but there was a general understanding across kind of the viewer base or the fan base that the developers weren't necessarily probably the most talented or maybe the best players and they were expected to be pushovers in this tournament, really, and that they were just a team to fill a spot, and that BDR was going to advance. And they came out and showed that it was quite the opposite, and that they actually put a lot of time into the strategy and developing that, and that they were able to execute it. I thought it was actually very impressive.
Mm-hmm. Oh, agreed.
Yeah. Would you like to maybe talk to the people and introduce yourself a little bit about how you're known within the Arma community, why you're on the Arma 3 Ambassador team, and maybe a little bit about Battle Royale?
Well, yeah, I created Battle Royale for Arma 2, 3 years ago now. And then, a few years ago, we moved over to Arma 3 once it came out of Alpha. I was asked to take part of the Ambassadors team, I guess, because of Battle Royale. I had a chance to play with the guys last night, and we worked really well as a team. It surprised me a bit, actually, because again, as you said, they're all from different backgrounds and stuff. So a lot of them are just pure PvP players. So yeah, sorry, what was the question?
Really, I was just asking you to kind of introduce yourself to the viewers and who you are and why you're well known and the reason why you're on the Arma 3 Ambassador team, and a little bit about Battle Royale. I think you covered most of it. Yeah,
I mean, Battle Royale is Battle Royale. If you don't know what it is, it's just a last man standing deathmatch with no respawns.
It's very
concept, really.
Now, were you inspired by the Hunger Games?
Well, more Battle Royale the movie. I mean.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, the Hunger Games. I mean, the last man standing deathmatch is certainly not my idea. It's been done for thousands of years. So, I just wanted to do something. I just wanted to see originally if I could actually make a mod. I was, busy with a DayZ mod server doing scripting on that and stuff, and then learning SQF. And then just decided to see if I could make a mod, and out came Battle Royale. So.
Now, to draw off something you said, PlayerUnknown, I think you said that last night you and a whole bunch of the Arma 3 ambassadors entered like a practice session of some kind. Now, I think when we were having an interview earlier before this broadcast went live over what you think some of the strengths and weaknesses of this ambassador team is, I think universally it's understood that communication would be a weakness, right? The fact that you guys have never played together before, did you find that being a problem in your practice session, and how do you intend to overcome that?
We didn't have a problem at all. I mean, the guys were not professional enough to know when to speak. Of course, there was a bit of chatter and stuff, but we worked really well together.
Communication is not going to be one of our weaknesses. We did pretty well the first time we ever met each other and played together last night. Mm-hmm. We were definitely communicating well.
And we won both matches we played last night, so it's good fun. And we were playing against BDR again last night. Well, it was like 6 against 7, I think, at one stage. So
awesome. Now, I mean, if I can address Andrews really quick from Reality Gaming. Andrews, your team is going to be playing next week in the quarterfinals D, I believe. Seeing the first two, at least the first matchup of the tournament so far, are you liking the strategy you're starting to see? Do you think your team will co-op some of that strategy? How are you liking the tournament so far, Andrews?
Really enjoying it so far. Thank you, Mike. I mean, first of all, good afternoon from London to all of your viewers. It's just really pleased to be part of the official Arma 3 in-game tournament. In terms of how I reviewed the matches this evening, I thought they were great, really exciting, lots of action, lots of to and fro between the two teams, lots of engagements, lots of tactical grenades. Really reminded me of my old PvP kind of Counter-Strike days. In terms of the activity that was taking place. I really was impressed with the BI dev team tonight. The way that they came out, I thought that they really took advantage of some of the game mechanics as well as their tactics. I felt that it was quite equal in terms of the two teams against one another. The overall engagement seemed to pay off. There was a couple of real clutch moments from the Italian team, BDR, when they had opportune moments to take down 3 or 4 guys simultaneously. But as I said, it was a really engaging game to watch. I think our guys at Reality Gaming will take a lot from tonight's experience. They would have been watching that match, trying to maybe get some tips from the BI guys who really do have the kind of inside edge. And I must say, I was taken back by your statement with regards to the BI team, being the underdog, because it's quite the contrary at RG in terms of our perspective of that. I think they came out very strong, and we knew that they would have pride at stake. And being the developers themselves, I mean, we all know from making Arma maps and missions that when you create these scenarios and you play them, no one knows them better than the people that actually lay down the markers or know how to play the map itself. And that was evident with regards to the PvP engagements and the engagements on the AI, just the BI team preempting where the AI was going to be, using grenades on those positions. It saves crucial time. And that's really what that beginning stage is for, that kind of build up and taking advantage of knowing what's what and what's where.
Now, Jester, I think you mentioned earlier that you primarily play co-op within your military simulation group in Arma 3. Going into a player versus player game mode, have you found that transition difficult, or what was your experience playing last night with the guys?
I don't PvP in Arma, but I played Counter-Strike for a really long time, and then I played Battlefield for a really long time, and I also played World of Warcraft as a PvPer for a really long time. So PvP, it's not foreign to me, and it's not unnerving to me. I feel that it's not too much of a change. The only difference is trying to PvP in Arma is sometimes a little bit frustrating as far as some of the limitations that you have to deal with. But it's stuff that hopefully we'll be able to overcome.
Most definitely. I think we are just within 15 minutes out from this first match starting between Tango Down and the Arma 3 Ambassadors team. Star, do you have any questions for our panel?
Yeah, I do. And I have a question for Andrews, and a little bit of insight on maybe how your team is preparing for your matchup next weekend against Liberated Gaming.
Preparation-wise, the team has been finalized to the 8 candidates that really want to represent RG on the battlefield. Those are going to be coming together. We were at a slight advantage, and big props to BDR. Obviously, they took the game against the BI devs on the first week. So I think that the guys will have this week not only to analyze the footage that's taking place tonight and get an idea of maybe some tactics we hadn't thought about, but also get familiar with the terrain and the latest release of the endgame. So we're in an opportune position to take advantage of some intel that's been collected tonight. I'm sure the guys are listening and taking that intel as I speak. And we're really looking forward to the games that are coming up. I think there's just a lot to be learned and a lot of benefit in coming second with regards to these type of tournament setups.
Absolutely. And it's been unspoken, but if you take a look at the bracket, it's an international tournament, and we have one community from a number of different countries. But it turns out that your first round bracket is 2 teams from UK, and they're the only 2 teams representing the UK. So it turns out that you guys are essentially battling to represent UK in the semifinals.
Indeed. I think that reality gaming is very much European. I think we're about 40% UK. Obviously, I represent the team and I'm from the UK, but we have a lot of really good European dudes. So we're coming into this with a very much European team representing lots of places in Europe. So I won't run them off. There's too many to mention, but yeah, it is good having a team that is local and that speaks our native language. I just think with regards to BDR tonight, I think they did a great job representing the Italians on the field, and it's just going to be interesting to see how a prime kind of casual milsim, predominantly co-op team do taking on Liberated Gaming next week, and that's ourselves.
Now, PlayerUnknown, if we want to speak briefly about the other members of the Arma 3 Ambassadors team, I know in the discussions we had, you brought up Exec and Aces as extremely skilled Battle Royale players and Twitch streamers. Do you think that their, ability to PvP in Battle Royale will translate to the PvP in Arma 3 Endgame?
I think so, for sure. These guys are very good at hunter-killer roles. So, I think depending on how, if Tango Down are primarily mil-sim or if they're primarily co-op, I think they'll have an advantage on pure PvP. I would hope. At least that's why I chose them. Or asked them to come and play.
I'd like to change the focus here a little bit and kind of open it up as a discussion to everybody else. And really, what I'd like to bring up here is that it's pretty evident that Bohemia Interactive is recognizing that there's a demand for a live broadcasted, organized team versus team sort of event. And this is kind of the first iteration of that, and sort of very much kind of a foundation and a test bed for that. What are your thoughts as far as this sort of recognition, and as well as maybe future events that you'd like to see it maybe progress into? Are there any opinions?
If I can go. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think it's really refreshing to see something different, bringing the wider community together. I mean, it's always cool interacting with the devs, Greg, the guys at BI. It's nice meeting guys like Jester and PlayerUnknown, and it's really kind of bringing everyone together on neutral ground. So we've all got a place to participate, have some fun, and a reason really to collaborate and contact one another more. So I think it's a really good step in the right direction with regards to BI.
Absolutely. Are there any sort of live broadcasted, Bohemia-sponsored Arma 3 events that you would like to see in the future, whether it be Endgame or some other different scenario? I feel like there's probably a broad spectrum and I think that, with many other games, like you'll have live broadcasted events from the various developers of their games, whether it be, a CSGO or whether it be League of Legends or Smite or whatever it is. You'll see these on Twitch. But with Arma, it's very unique, where I feel like there's a broad spectrum of live broadcasts that they could support, whether it be Endgame or whether it be kind of a more realism type scenario, something similar to like a Shack-Tac-esque adversarial type mission, where it's platoon versus platoon, first person with no respawns type of thing. And you could even extend that into I know that there's been very successful battle royale tournaments in the past.
Yeah, we've had a few for charity that have been very, very well received, and done a great deal of raising of money as well. So, that's something I've always tried to do with battle royale, especially for our live events, is try to do them for charity, because if we can get some of the bigger streamers to take part, we can do some good for whoever Extra Life. Our next one's going to be with Op Supply Drop. So, I think Arma is a great platform for all these type of events, because there is such a variety. As you said, you can go from proper realism to something like battle royale, more kind of just run around and shoot people.
And that's ultimately the strength of Arma 3 is its its open sandbox platform, so that you can really support a plethora of different types of experiences, and to be able to live broadcast them to a fan base, I think would be very cool.
Oh, listen, I love the work they're putting into the spectator camera, because that just gives groups then the ability to do these type of events, and everything that's grown from like the grassroots level is much better than something tried to be forced, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
Indeed. Well, I think that just to come in there, so I think that Mike, I think that what's also adding a real element to this evening is the quality of the shoutcasting that's taking place, and not to blow anybody's trumpets, but quite literally having you guys and somebody overview the actual missions as they take place and detail what's happening. I think it brings in a wider audience. I think a lot more of those games that you mentioned before that are really popular on Twitch are very accessible, and Arma is obviously niche, and there's just ways of explaining what's happening that everybody can understand. And I think these smaller environments and smaller 16 kind of player maps and missions bring it so tight that there's always something happening. So I think that's tantamount to it.
I think it could even be, even to a cooperative standpoint, and that's kind of, once again, playing into the strengths of Arma 3, whereas it has all these different sort of experiences, and just being able to maybe broadcast it or document it, and maybe, have a narration where somebody is recording the matches and kind of narrating what's happening, whether it be in some sort of a larger campaign scale that people can follow. And but I think it's very interesting to kind of entertain that idea and what it could develop into. Sure. But I absolutely agree with you guys with not only just Bohemia's efforts here with organizing this event and kind of pulling their community together from various different areas, and networking with different people well known within the Arma universe as well as the various communities. It's been a very rewarding, and I've been very grateful and humbled to be able to participate in it. And it's very interesting because I've had a very similar kind of take on this myself. And I've been going out of my way to establish and to network with many other communities within the Armaverse and set up relationships with them and find out what they're about and what their interests are, and try to coordinate and communicate and work with them for the betterment of everybody involved, which I really think is the future of Arma 3. And it's really kind of the community coming together, like-minded, talented, passionate people coming together and really making that experience for everybody involved, even the various communities, really the best that it can be.
Oh, agreed.
Well, I think I'd like to thank you guys. I think at some point we're getting pretty close to the time where the next match is going to be beginning, and I think we may be taking a brief break before that match begins. Are there any other statements before you guys take off that you'd just like to say to the viewers?
Thanks for tuning in and supporting this event. It means a lot to us, I guess.
Absolutely.
No, indeed, and thanks for all the support from BI and yourselves tonight. And I'm really looking forward to seeing Jester and PlayerUnknown in action in the up-and-coming operation.
That's right. You guys are up next.
Yeah, we got to go and get our...
Come on.
So you can come in and destroy us.
We got to get our tactics in order, I guess.
That's right. Now, do you guys have you guys been strategizing?
A little bit. We have some ideas.
Now, based off of what you guys have seen from the first match, is that going to change your strategy at all?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I think we played a little bit last night. We got some good strats down, so we'll be able to push forward with that, and hopefully we'll pull off a success.
I hope so too.
Yeah, I
honor.
Yes, I hope you guys. I wish you guys the best.
For the ambassadors.
For the ambassadors. Very nice, very nice.
Awesome, guys. We appreciate again you talking with us, and again your participation in this tournament is very much appreciated. You guys bring a degree of high profile play and high profile in terms of being known in the community and known throughout the YouTube and social media verse to this tournament, and we very much appreciate that.
Oh, it's Arma. I love Arma.
Yeah. And I'd just like to say that I hope this isn't the last time that we see you guys here.
Oh God, no.
I'm sure it won't be the last, gentlemen. And big shout out to everybody at Reality Gamer at realitygaming.org. Thank you.
Well, if you're going to do a shout out, I've got to do a shout out to my guys in 506 and all my YouTube subscribers.
Well, again, gentlemen, thank you for talking with us. Yeah, PlayerUnknown. That's been, I guess, Andrews from Reality Gaming, Jester814, and PlayerUnknown. Good luck today, guys. I hopefully, you won't need it, but I think you will. Tango Down is going to be a very difficult opponent.
Lovely. Thanks for that.
Thanks for having us, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
No problem. Thank you.
We're going to take a brief break, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to play, the waiting screen with... Before, when we did this, you guys really dig the music. I think the music was awesome, too. So we're going to do that again. We'll be back in about 5 minutes, ready to hop into the second matchup of the Arma 3 Endgame Tournament, Quarterfinals B, Tango Down versus the Arma 3 Ambassadors team, coming up right after this.